There is a specific point in the lifespan of consumer hardware where the physical design is locked into place. The engineers find the most efficient shape, the market accepts it, and true physical innovation slows to a crawl. When companies can no longer fight each other in the research lab, they move the battle to the courtroom. For the last few years, the Chinese tech giant DJI has enjoyed total dominance in the compact vlogging space. Their Osmo Pocket 3 effectively cornered the market for anyone wanting a high-quality, stabilized camera small enough to slide into a pair of jeans. That monopoly went unchallenged until mid-2026, when rival manufacturer Insta360 launched two direct competitors, the Luna Pro and the Luna Ultra. Look at the structural layout of these devices side by side. Both feature a mechanical gimbal holding a dual-lens camera at the top. Directly below that sits a touchscreen, and right at the base of the grip, a cluster of operational buttons. DJI immediately filed an aggressive patent infringement lawsuit in the United States against Arashu Vision, the parent company of Insta360, claiming their rival had blatantly copied the Osmo Pocket 3. Within 48 hours of the initial filing, Insta360 retaliated. They launched a sweeping countersuit, claiming DJI was actually infringing on their own distinct patents. In the modern creator economy, these rapid-fire legal filings serve as tactical maneuvers to control market share. DJI's legal team is focusing heavily on the physical geometry of the hardware. They argue that the strict vertical stacking of the lens array, the display screen, and the control buttons belongs exclusively to them. DJI is extending the fight into the internal software experience, targeting 4 functional patents that dictate how the camera actually operates. This flowchart illustrates the core of their software claim. Normally, a camera relies on an external smartphone app to calculate where a subject is moving. DJI holds a patent on a specific standalone tracking feature, where the camera handles the target tracking entirely on its own, natively, without needing a phone connection. Because modern devices rely heavily on the invisible layer of software making the physical buttons work, patenting a basic user experience has become an aggressive, standard tactic to keep competitors at bay. To understand the true motive here, we have to look closely at where DJI decided to pick this fight: the Federal Court of Eastern Texas. Tech companies actively venue shop for districts that will give them an edge. The Eastern Texas court system is infamous in the legal world for being exceptionally sympathetic to patent holders, making it the perfect staging ground for an offensive strike. And DJI needs a major offensive strike right now because of severe geopolitical friction. Throughout 2026, the U.S. government placed heavy market restrictions on DJI over security concerns. This timeline graph highlights the reality of those restrictions. Any DJI product developed after late 2025 hits a firm legal cutoff. Their newer iterations of the Osmo Pocket line are physically blocked from reaching American retail shelves. Notice what happens to the competitor. Insta360 is not subject to this specific geopolitical ban. Their new Luna cameras are sailing right past the regulatory wall and flooding into the vacuum left behind in the US market. DJI is legally handcuffed. They cannot fight Insta360 by releasing new hardware in America. Their only viable option to stop their rival is to use the courts to block the sale of the competing cameras entirely. Stripped of its technical jargon, this lawsuit is a desperate defensive blockade. DJI is leveraging its older patents to protect a frozen slice of American market share from a rapidly advancing competitor. We've seen exactly how this plays out before. Back in the early 2010s, Apple and Samsung engaged in a pivotal, decade-long legal war over smartphone designs. Apple's core legal argument back then was essentially that Samsung stole the concept of a black rectangle with rounded corners. Today, DJI is arguing that Insta360 stole the concept of a screen mounted on a stick. That smartphone war dragged on for years. Neither company managed to destroy the other. Instead, after exhausting millions on legal fees, they eventually sat down and signed complex cross-licensing agreements, allowing both to use each other's ideas for a fee. By immediately firing back with a countersuit of their own, Insta360 is preparing for that exact scenario. They are stockpiling their own legal ammunition to force a favorable negotiation down the road. These devices have reached their ergonomic endpoint. That is the moment where human anatomy and the laws of physics dictate there is really only one optimal way to hold a specific tool. It needs a grip, a screen you can see, and a lens pointing at you. When hardware reaches that structural finish line, the sizable tech companies building them realize they can no longer easily out-innovate their rivals, so they pivot their resources toward out-litigating them. As market leaders weaponize their patent portfolios to protect their territory, the consumer landscape shifts. Innovation is replaced by litigation, leaving buyers with fewer choices as the barrier to entry becomes too high for any startup without a sizable legal department to match.